Okay, I'm not exactly sure what you can see here. My hair is a mess. I woke up about, it's kind of hard to do it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just woke up about 3 hours ago. After I had completed that video, I went over to the library to upload the video, and when I got there, apparently they had it all set up. The gay community and the Klan had it all set up to support Gabriel Franklin, like they've been doing since 1980, since the 1970s. And they had assigned me a computer on the third floor, but they removed the chair from behind the computer. On the left was a white male, about over 6 feet tall, who had the mouth of Gabriel Franklin, the glasses, and I basically had to read into it who that man was. I never met him before, and he kept on swaying back and forth like a serpent, and he was making gestures with his face. I didn't like the gestures that I saw with his face, so I decided I was not going to. I wasn't going to sit there. As I was getting on the elevator, there was a big white man who stunk. I mean, this man just reeked big time. I didn't say anything to him, and felt that, that was a hit. And if I had read it, it would have been sex, true, Kevin, right? In other words, there's not going to be any sex with me because of the fact that I reported what was going on the video that I had just uploaded, or the video that I was about to upload. So that was the community's position against me. I went back downstairs to the second floor of the Portland Public Library and went to look for another computer. They assigned me another computer, but this time it was, where was it? Actually, the first time was the computer was completely off. They had two computers off, and I turned on one of them, and as soon as I turned it on, the computer was assigned to someone else. So that was the first hit. The second hit was the guy that stunk. The third hit, the second hit was the guy that was upstairs swaying back and forth, and the third hit these were hits from John MacArthur through the gay community and the Klan. So MacArthur and Franklin combined together was in the establishment hitting me from the background, because that's the position that the gay community had given to him. So they assigned me a third computer, and that computer, they put me right next to the man. He was a young man, probably in his late 20s, early 30s, big, husky guy, over 6 feet tall, and this guy stunk. I mean, he reeked big time. And so they purposely put me right next to him, and I took it because I needed to upload the videos, the teaching, the ministry, and also to update, to let the church know what is going on. These people want me dead before I turn 44 September 1st. And if I'm not dead, from what I see now, they're trying to either make me lose this eye here, and they started giving me abrasions here in my arm. Last week, I think I showed you the abrasion as a result of this. Remember this that happened? I don't think you can see it, but it's there's a mark there on my maybe if I move the camera you can probably still see it. This is what it became. Can you see it? That's what it became. I was working for Labor Ready, and this is when it all started. See it there? I don't know if you can see it, but the abrasion on the right shoulder. Okay, and that was because I was carrying beams, and carrying the beams left the abrasion there on my skin. Well, the very same night, I got an abrasion here, and then this morning, of course, I wake up and there's another abrasion on the right side of my leg. I'm gonna have to turn the camera so you could see that this is what this woman is doing. So I leave the library after uploading the videos, and they wouldn't allow me to save the videos on iPage. So I had a hard time. I upload the videos, but then for me to save it, it's they won't allow it to save. So sometimes it saves and sometimes it doesn't. So I lose a lot of work that way. They turned off the computer early from what I was doing. I looked up the company. I looked up some of the information, like the snake. I found the snake that they had given me at the Portland Raceway, wherever it was, that I had worked this past weekend. And so I had formulated this sheet of information. And I found the Board of Elders from Grace Community Church. And I put them on the sheet because they're the ones who are behind this. Because behind this is Christ Community Church, Lebec Community Church, Grace Community Church. So it's like a collective of clan groups calling themselves churches that are judging me as an African for insubordination and slavery. So these people are not Christians, they're clansmen from the South, from California, that are up here judging me using Gabriel and Guy Franklin. So Gabriel and Guy Franklin are a part of the judgment that is being done against me by these Americans. So I'm being judged by both sides, Haitians and American Europeans, for insubordination. And they're being protected by the US government. So the whole 13th Amendment thing is a bunch of bullshit. The 13th Amendment does not free Africans in America. Africans are still slaves in this country. And I'm one of the Africans that they're forever judging with this: you need to submit to our skin, hair, and eyes as a subordinate, or we will kill you. So figure out how many Africans have been killed since 1981, when I came into this country, as a result of insubordination. So Europeans are demanding insubordination. You people from Haiti, you need to understand, when you come into this country, you are not free. Do you understand? These Europeans don't consider you equal. They don't consider you to be free. You come into this country and you are property of the U.S. government, and the U.S. government turns you into slaves, subordinates, and jailbirds. You are not free Haitians. When you come here, don't think because they hand you a green card or a certificate of citizenship that you are free. There is a background. There are people in the background. Jean-Claude Duvalier is not going to set you free. Papa Doc is not here anymore. Those people are not going to deliver you from what the Klan and the gay community. These are Europeans who call themselves Klan. These are Europeans who call themselves the gay community. They call themselves by these fancy names to identify their position, but they're still the British who brought you down to the Caribbean to be slaves. Whether they speak French or they speak English or they speak Spanish, they're still the Europeans who are whipping you, and they're giving it to me right now. So you keep your eyes open. They are on the island, and only God knows what they're going to do to you on that island, okay, or what they've already done. Okay, now many of you are probably not going to watch this video, but you need to know this coming from up here, that nothing has changed. They come dressed up in Christian clothing. They come dressed up as Christian pastors and missionaries. And there are some missionaries down there pretending to be missionaries. There are Europeans down there pretending missionaries and establishing schools of theology, and they are teaching you their doctrine, but they don't live that way. They are teaching you what they so-called believe, but that's not who they are. It's the opposite, okay? They're giving you all of their information, but what it's going to cost you is your lives. It's going to cost you your lives, because these people are not introducing you to God. What they're introducing you is to death. They are not interested in your salvation. They are not interested in you marrying their kids. They're not interested in you coming into their country and leading them. They're not interested in your authority. They're not interested in your salvation. They're only interested in your subjugation and submission. So I'm giving you Haitians a warning. Okay? Take it or leave it. These people are your enemies, and they are going to be your enemies until the bitter end. So every generation of your children will know you will not be loved, you will not be embraced, you will be hated, you will be mistreated, and you will be killed. Okay, this is what they're doing to us up here. They're using Haitians to hurt us, and they're inciting and enticing us. You understand? They'll entice you with their flesh, but it's your own Haitians that are going to be using, that they're going to be using to eat you and have sex with you. In other words, they're going to show you their pornographic side, their nudity. They'll take it off so you can see it. But in the end, it's the Haitians that you don't suspect that are going to submit to them, that they're going to use to molest you. Vous comprenez? L'on regarde photo yo en nu dans magasin, ça yo pas le faire où? Yo pas le retirer. C'est l'autre haïtien qui parle entrer sous qui parle koyen ou qui parle manger zozo koyen bunda mayen tete ou qui parle cracher dans coco. Vous comprenez ça m'a dit ou haïtien? C'est ou regarder photo yo pour qu'a envie ça, mais c'est même moun sa yo qui parle prendre l'autre haïtien qui pour boire coup ça. C'est ça que Guy Franklin avec Gabriel Franklin devenu. Son coup que yo yé. Kounya la, li 5h22 du matin. Depuis 2h22 du matin, m'a prélé un mot sur moun sa yo. Yo caché des portes. Te montre, kounya c'est la nuit. Mais dehors. Ouais, dehors. C'est la nuit. C'est 2h du matin. C'est 5h du matin que lié. Ouais, soleil n'a pas même commencé. 5h du matin. Soleil n'a pas même pas même qu'au lever. Pas même qu'au sorti. Depuis 2h du matin, moi, je suis à la m'a appelé un mot sur Gabriel Franklin, avec Guy Franklin, avec Jean-Marc Carter. Yo fait yeux moi mal, yo voulait pour me perdre les yeux là. Même t'es petit, mais ça que yo t'es fait moi. Ça c'est premier coup. Deuxième coup là déjà, c'est ouais que ou pas qu'à ouais ça. Yo bon mon troisième coup avec comment on dit ça, on y là. Kounya la, moi t'entends voir Gabriel, il dit c'est avec un ceinturon que yo pas bon coup, yo bon moi un serpent. 2 jours passés, en samedi que moi t'ai travail. Tout côté que moi aller, tout partout que moi entrer, c'est Gabriel avec la communauté de Massissi, c'est Gabriel avec Guy Franklin que européen dupliqué, ça veut dire là yo joindre monde qui la communauté a qui ressemble yo, qui a même figure avec yo, qui a même mentalité avec eux pour représenter eux. N'importe parler que moi parler avec Européens, c'est avec Guy Franklin ou bien Gabriel Franklin. N'importe côté que moi entrer. Et c'est comme ça que yo boulanger avec moi. Et y a jugé moi parce que yo veut subordination. C'est position ça que yo voulait pour nous prendre. Subordination. Sous entrer dans le pays, c'est son pays qui demandait pour eux-mêmes qui sortit en Haïti pour devenir on subordonné de Africains pour devenir on subordonné de Européens. C'est ça que yo voulez dans le pays. Yo pas voulez pour égal, ou pas jamais égal. Autant de moi Haïti, y a prend haïtien qui prend même position avec Gabriel et avec Guy Franklin. Yo tous les deux tourné. Et ces deux monde ça yo, te montrer. Mon premier matin on me levé. Mais ça yo m'a crois que ouais ça. Mais Abrasion ça. M'a connaît sur ouais ça. Bon, là. Ouais. Mais ça que yo fait jambe non. M'a connaît sur ka ouais ça. Mais ça va faire mal, mais ça que yo fait, c'est avec comment on dit ça? Je te montre où. Gabriel entre dans la là toute la journée, tout le soir. Elle est entrée, mais ça que lui prend. Ouais ça? C'est ça qu'il utilisait. c'est ça que Gabriel prend. Gabriel Franklin. Pour lui faire ça. Bon. Ouais. C'est ça que Gabriel utilisait. Vous entendez-moi? Ouais, ça là? C'est ça que lui prend et lui fait ça. Lui fait ça plusieurs fois. Et c'est même comme ça, haïtienne ça, que utilisait pour sous ses os au moins, et puis pour bon coup. Et le moins pas fait, le moins pas, chaque matin, li entrait, li molestait moi, le carbone moi. Le carbone là. Ouais, c'est le carbone ça, que li entrait, li prend ça, li mettait ça en bas de droite, li mettait ça en bas de droite, là. Il mettait ça là bon ici, là. Et puis il mettait ça dans pied moi. Vous comprenez? Ça fait mal. Et là moi pour me téléphoner la police pour m'expliquer ça ba yo. Yo pas comprendre. Yo dit oh, pas grand rien, pas de problème pour qui soit téléphoner nous pour venir ban au mauvais repos ça yo. Son paquet menti. Et puis il entre dans cas là, c'est avec même ça yo. Vous comprenez? Ça yo son needle boy ici yo relé ça needle pas connait comment yo relé ça en Haïti mais c'est comme si là yo bon piqûre yo mettait 11 jours de l'eau pas comment relé ça son boy ici pour qu'a dormi et puis yo boit ça pour zozo vin red c'est même ça yo que utiliser boy ici là blanc qui fait ça avec Guy Franklin yo avec Macarthur yo. C'est ça que utilisé pour faire moi dormir, pour faire zozo vin red, pour manger zozo moi, yo utilisé moi. Yo et puis même pour moi entrer sous garçon, pour m'entrer sous massissi mexicain, espagnol ou bien massissi blanc. Vieux grand monde, oui, c'est pas jeune garçon qui belle non. Yo utilisé jeune garçon yo qui belle pour faire que moi envie ça. Mais après ça c'est un paquet massissi qui pas bon. Qu'on y a là c'est pour moi parler avec américain yo. Mais c'est pour comprendre que position de subordination ça depuis le pays a commencé c'est comme ça que y est avec nous dans toute génération pas tout président et Kounia là Kounia m'bal gen 44 1er septembre yo pas vraiment devenu 44 le 1er septembre tout ça que y a fait yo fait ça pour moi qu'à mourir parce que prix qui l'en cœur yo dit yo comme ça que yo ka fait tout ça. Guy Franklin avec Gabriel, t'es l'autre nom qui était les Jean-Marie, monsieur Mouri, c'est eux même qui t'a tué monsieur ça, dans la communauté. T'es l'autre après ça, c'était Tony Gaston, monsieur Mouri, c'est eux même qui prend un poignard sur monsieur pour le tuer lui. Kounia là, c'est yo entré sous moi-même pour 18 ans, yo chita là, y a cogné moi, y a mangé zozo moi et c'est gouvernement avec fédéral gouvernement avec la police qui protégeait yo. N'importe ça que yo fait moi, c'est même que yo mettez en prison pour yo faire mal et entre que moi entrer en prison, yo piqué moi avec yo bon même quoi. Yo utilisé ça, yo bon mon chat là pour me dormir, pour Gabriel qui rentre sous moi pour lui sous ses os pour lui faire mal. Et puis au comprendre ça c'est lui même qui fait moi ça. Me dis ça pour qu'à comprendre. C'est position ça que yo moi boy ici. N'importe travail que moi entrer, c'est même deux moun sa yo que si ma travail pour un homme, figure nom non, c'est même figure avec Gabriel ou bien Guy Franklin ou bien Sandra Duclairon. Même famille de papa moi entrer dans situation ça avec européen ça yo et haïtien ça yo. Moi dis ça pour qu'à comprendre. Leur voyez petit tout entrer en Amérique pour vivre avec l'autre monde. C'est pour qu'on ait que yo pral souffrir. C'est pas un bon barrage que vous faites pour petit là. Ou retirer lui dans pays de souffrance qui est Haïti. Mais là, entre boy ici, c'est plus problème. Oui, que yo pas gagner avec Européens ça yo. Et Haïtiens ça yo qui embrasse yo pour yo venir entrer. Comprendre yo, c'est pas comprendre de nous parler des familles de Haïtiens ça non. C'est pas ça qui l'entête non. C'est un esclave oui que vous voyez ba yo. Yo va manger petit tout, yo va cogner petit tout et les Européens ça yo, bay haïtien ça yo coup, c'est sous petit tout yo que par l'entrée pour yo retourner pour ça. Haïtien ça yo qui boy ici, qui mettait tête en bas avant Européens ça yo. Yo pas tourner sur Européens pour retourner quoi ba yo non. Les Européens yo bay au coup non. C'est sous petit tout oui que yo par l'entrée pour yo foutre un petit tout un coup de pied. Vous comment ça va dire? Si Européens au premier, yo ba haïtien coup. Deuxième, là, qui est haïtien, qui parle entrer sous petit tout pour tuer petit tout. Pas voyer petit tout, vin entrer en Amérique pour vivre. Vous entendez, moi, haïtien, pas quitter petit tout, entrer boy ici pour vivre. Parce que si on va vendre l'autre haïtien qui boit ici, si on rentre, c'est souffrir que vous pas souffrir. Même si ou est là, on pas dormir, pas bien dormir, pas bien vivre. Vous rentrez dans le là, vous voulez mettre serpent dans le là. Vous rentrez dans le là, vous voulez chirer rad, vous voulez piquer moi. Même dans la télévision avec radio, on va regarder ça, vous insultez moi. Vous comprenez? Pas de télévision, pas de radio. Moi, ça m'a dit, pour moi, chita dans le là, pour moi, vous mettez gaz dans le là, pour moi dormir. Entre que vous dormez, sans pas qu'il y ait de tracas, sans pas qu'il y ait de problème, que vous dormez toute la journée, tout le soir, pas de dormir. Donc, ça m'a dit, bab, moi là, que ouais, vous chirez bab là, cheveux, moi, regardez derrière tête, moi. Ouais, derrière tête, moi. Vous coupez tout derrière tête, moi. Vous chirez, tout ça que vous faites. Haïti, Haïtien, moi, d'où conseil ça, yo, pour pas rentrer, bon, ici. Pas venir, plutôt rentrer en Afrique. Plutôt aller dans le pays, nous, côté nous, t'es sorti. Haïtien, bon, ici, tourner, Européen, ça yo mal. Vous entendez ça m'a dit, Européen, ça yo mal. C'est mauvais monde que yo y. Et yo dit c'est chrétien que yo y, c'est pas chrétien que yo y. Jean-Marc Carter, son Satan que lié, et son tueur que lié dans le pays. Toute la police qui boit ici, dans Portland, Oregon, c'est massif que yo y, et yo mettez chapeau dans la tête yo. Et Haïtien yo qui boit ici, Guy Franklin avec Gabriel Franklin, aidez yo. C'est pas même que yo aidé, c'est Européens yo que yo aidé, parce que yo voulez vivre boy ici, en bas vente massissi, et en bas vente esclavation de Européens. C'est même que yo surprisé, avec toute information, ça, moi pas de connaître. Moi dis ou ça, sous j'aime regarder vidéo, moi, sous comprendre, je ne sais pas si mon interpréter ça pour vous, mais moi dis ou mon conseil, faites attention avec Européens qui entrent en Haïti. Espagnols yo pas avec nous. Africains yo pas avec nous. Nous pour contre nous. Vous donnez ça m'a dit, mais même boy ici là sont racistes que moyens contre africains. Sont racistes que moyens contre haïtiens. Sont racistes que moyens parce que si moi pas raciste, je t'ai fait mes yeux déjà. Vous donnez ça m'a dit, qu'on y a ces yeux, je veux les fermer et tuer que je veux tuer moi parce que moi pas mettre tête moi en bas de Franklin. Franklin sont Satan que lié. Maman sont Satan que lié, les connaît petit li. Ils connaissent petit li, les connaît petit li. Sont Satan que Gabriel Franklin y. Vous donnez moi et Gabriel Franklin violé moi toute la journée, tout le soir. Il violé moi dans la prison, il violé moi dans la caille, même dans la rue. Femme n'a entre sous moi, retirer culotte pour lui cogner moi devant tout le monde. Vous donnez moi, des missions boy ici là, mission qui pour monde qui pauvre qui pas l'argent. C'est là que yo mettez nous tout dans caille. Li entre la mission pendant m'a dormi, yo ban moi en piqûre. Vous entendez moi, yo ban moi en piqûre pour faire zozo moi raide pour moi dormir. Et pendant m'a dormi, femme na chita la manger zozo moi, la manger bunda moi, la fait moi tout ça devant tout non mieux espagnol, espagnol, chinois, monde blanc, sans nom qui chita là, yo tout a regarder femme dans coin moi. Vous comprenez ça? Et yo dit yo c'est jugé que l'a jugé moi parce que son chrétien que moi m'a prêché la Bible de bon Dieu. Bon conseil ça yo haïtien, pas entrer dans le pays de l'Amérique. Si yo pas beaucoup première année ou bien deuxième, troisième, quatrième, cinquième, sixième, septième année, connaît que l'œil entre sous la vie finit en Amérique. Parce que coup que yo ba ou, c'est pas seulement boy ici, c'est boy ici. Ça va traverser en Haïti. Et yo dit moi déjà, pas entrer en Haïti, sous entrer en Haïti, ou mourir. Et c'est ça que yo gagne pour nous tous. Là yo bay, on haïtien coup, c'est toute maman, papa, frère, soeur, c'est toute famille que yo bay coup pour subordination. C'est ça que Européens aimaient. Et Européens par aimer égalité de Africains avec yo, dans le pays. Pas comprendre parce que ou jaune, ou pas rentrer dans le pays pour marier blanc. Parce que yo pas vle. C'est pas en Suisse. Même en Suisse, c'est subordination. Vous entendez moi, petit Gabriel qui est entré là, yo connaît européen, yo fait petit avec européen, c'est pas en relation d'égalité, c'est en relation de subordination. C'est esclave que Mariannette Schönenberger était, c'est esclave que Karel Hoffman était. Moun sa yo c'est pas égal de européen que yo t'es obligé de descendre. Moi dis ça, pas quitter européen ça entrer sous vous pour embrasser yo. Sous embrasser européen ça yo, c'est yo même qui va craser la vie. Toute porte n'importe porte que ouvert pour eux, c'est porte pour perdre du pays. c'est pas pour perdre famille. Vous entendez ça m'a dit n'importe porte si vous ouvrez porte là-bas il y a pas entrer mais là yo entrer connaît que ou pral perdre Haïti. Vous entendez moi si vous pas perdu Haïti pendant ou là jodi c'est pendant de génération de petit tout ou bien petit parce que c'est ça que vous fait en Amérique, c'est ça que vous fait toute partout. Moun sa yo c'est Satan que yo parle en bon Dieu, c'est menti que yo bail. Son couvre-lit que christianité y yo comme si là yo couvre, c'est comme si on mettait un chapeau dans tête de serpent. Donnez-moi son serpent toujours. Même si ou te font une petite figure ou mettez un chapeau pour une belle figure de un monde, mais l'on mettez ça sur tête de serpent, ou t'as dit oh regardez gens ça belle. Mais l'on retire chapeau son serpent, il va morder ou, il va tuer ou. Vous donnez ça m'a dit oh, c'est ça que européen y est. Figure yo belle, yo blanc, mais cœur yo mal. C'est Satan qui l'en cœur yo. Ou connaît ça parce que vous avez voodoo dans le pays et vous connaît Jean Satan mettez ça dans le cœur ou même. Moi dis ça faites attention. Vous donnez ça m'a dit ou même qui chrétien en Haïti, ouvrez les yeux ou priez, pas comprendre que vous pas rentrer bon ici pour venir devenir rien parce que vous pas quitter devenir rien. Vous donnez ça m'a dit And as for you Americans, you know, and I'm talking to you Christian Americans. I'm not talking to you, I was talking to the Haitian people, and I gave them a warning about the unbelieving Europeans. Okay? I warned them, and I warned them of Gabriel. I warned them of Guy Franklin. I warned them of the Klan. I warned them of the gay community, and I warned them of what the gay community is doing. Now, I warn these people not because they're friends. I warn them because they're of my race, and what I endured is what they're going to endure, and even furthermore. Okay? I warned them not to come into the country and to think that they're going to become equals, because what these Americans are wanting, the unbelieving Americans are wanting, is subordination and slavery, and they will come through any door that they open to take over the country and to take over their lives and to enslave them. So everything that I've told them, I've already told you. So I'm not talking behind your back, but I want you to understand that what I'm saying to you here, I've just communicated to them that this is what they used, this is what Franklin used to make the abrasion on my right leg, right? The abrasion that I showed them here, the abrasion that I showed them here, right? The abrasion that I showed them here, that was made on my right leg, right? You see that abrasion right there? That was done by a needle. And it wasn't done by my own needle, right? It wasn't done by my own needle. It was done by her needle. So she came in and this is what she did. Okay, this is what she's been doing. So all the time I've been living here, this woman has come into the apartment and she's used the needle to stick it under my nails, right? To stick it under my nails, to stick it in between my nails, or to stick under my feet, or to stick it in between my toes. She uses this to cause me abrasions. You know, last week I showed it to you, and also, and so this is an ongoing thing, right? I gave you some information yesterday as to what they were doing. Now they've increased it, right? They've increased the evil. They've increased the bad. Yesterday I was asked after I left the library. I went to After I left the library, I went to get some food at 7-Eleven. But when I got there, or before I got there, remember I told you that there was this man in the library who was, you know, reeking. I had an issue with a neighbor here who whom had insulted me with that. And right now I'm looking for the, oh, here it is. And I guess they took offense because of the fact that I had made mention of it. I had made mention of the fact that I could smell, there was an odor. Well, they took the offense and they brought it to the park. When I got there, I was told to leave. In other words, they don't want me here, right? So this particular people didn't want me here and they wanted me to leave. So I left and went to the 7-Eleven store. Apparently they own the 7-Eleven store, and to catch up with me and to hit me, this is what they did. I gave them a $3 bill, right? I gave them $3 single dollars, but this is the receipt that they gave to me. Okay, so they gave me back a receipt stating that I handed them $20 and they gave me change for $17.01. They didn't give me $17.01. They only gave me 1 cent. I never took I never got $17 because they never gave me, because I didn't give them 20 bucks. I gave them 3 singles. I had 4 singles in my wallet. I gave them 3. Now they're stating that I gave them this amount. Okay, so these people are Indian, and this is what, and the guy is representing Gabriel Franklin. His face is Gabriel Franklin, who started this friction, this whole friction thing. And Melinda warned me several times about this man, and so I no longer consider him someone that I could, talk with, because he's out, right? All of my troubles and all of my difficulties with any nation, whether it be black or white or Spanish or African, Asian, anytime there is friction, problems, issues in the society, it always comes as a result of these people representing Gabriel and Guy Franklin, or a member of Grace Community Church, or a member of a church that was in affiliation with Grace Community. So it's a continuation of, anytime you see me online, listen to what I'm saying to you, whether I'm speaking in Creole or I'm speaking in French or Spanish or English, understand that this is where it's at, right? So I woke up this morning and I wasn't expecting an abrasion. When I was writing, calculating my receipts, I didn't know I was going to find this. So sometimes I'm being hit and I don't even realize, because now they take this, if they take this approach and say, oh, well, we gave them $17 when they didn't give me a penny, they can take me to court and force me to pay them 17 bucks, when in reality, I only gave them $3, right? And they gave me back a penny. And I never, I never even saw I never even had $20. So this is how it begins, right? First the smell, and then the insult of the amount of money that they gave me, when in reality, that's not what they gave me. It's like Labor Ready. I had, in my 4th check, right? In my 4th check with Labor Ready, they took out 4 hours, right? And then later on, added 20 hours. They removed the 20 hours, but they still haven't adjusted the hours, the 4 hours that they had originally removed from my year to date hours, right? And so, and again, the people that are doing this are in connection with who? The Franklin family, through the community, right? So it's an ongoing thing. So now this morning, where do I take this? You have a Haitian woman coming into the apartment and doing this, right? And you have stores doing this. And then you've got libraries setting you up, right? And of course, about the EIN number and everything else. When I left the 7-Eleven store, I went over to the park, ate lunch. Of course, things happened there. I'm not going to get into it. Went to 24 hours. I was going to work out, but then Melinda gave me a warning and said that, well, they watched my video, and the community watched my video, and they didn't approve. They wanted me to go to Fantasy. So I caught bus number 6, or I caught bus number 12, one of the buses that would have taken me over there. And when I get there, as I'm getting off the bus, they communicated to me that they didn't want anything. So I said, fine, I went to the bus stop. I sat there for a minute. Then they said, okay, well, you need to go into the store. So I go into the store and they tell me that they're filming. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not into the pornographic world, and I'm not here to be a part of any of this crap, because I don't even stand with it, and I don't even want to deal with it. And here I am again, a second day, having to deal with this issue with these people. Sex is the rod that they're using against me. So I go in there and I stand for a few minutes, and of course they start coming out, and then Melinda tells me that they brought me in. They're going to bring me out, in other words, for me to have sex with another guy, and then they're going to bring me down, and that is to death. And I said, no, I don't want the sex, and I don't want the death. And so I started praying against them as an establishment, basically that God would shut them down and uproot them out of this kind of business, because it's bad business and it's a bad thing. Then she warned me to leave because, you know, they don't want me there. There were women, I guess, directors and producers on the other side of the back room where they have all the videos and booths. I never saw them. I never ran into them. The men started coming out. I guess there was about 6, 7 of them walking around, all American men. You know, some of them were big, small. I mean, I was under judgment, so that's what I was there for. And they were judging me, and so I left. You know, walked away, and without a scratch. But when I woke up this morning, you know, I was in pain because she molested me. You know, she raped the hell out of me, left me in pain. You know, needles. You know, the whole bit. They trespass. They come in here. They eat me, use me, and now they're leaving abrasions on my arms, right? Abrasion here, and now one on the right leg. First the right arm, now the right leg. And I'm beginning to think, is it going to be the cock next? You know, what are they going to snip my cock, or are they going to, what are they going to do next, right? But is it going to be the foot? Are they going to cut off a finger? I mean, it's almost like these people are not satisfied with, you know, living their day-to-day lives without doing something evil to me. Right? And they told me that when I call the police and give the police a report, they're going to haul me off to jail, and then they're going to shoot me there. Right? So that's where my final end is in jail. So then who do you report this to? How do you get a police report out of the fact that these people are coming into your home at all hours of the night, trespassing, giving you oral sex you didn't ask for, sticking things in your eyeballs so that you would go to a doctor, and so that the doctor could either make you lose your sight? Because I had a doctor, but they switch. You know, they switch from the regular doctors to skinny white guys that have, you know, long chins like Barack Obama. It's either they're representing Barack or they're representing Guy Franklin, or they're short, stocky, and they're representing Gabriel. So it's either the one or the other, right? And whether they're tall or short, it doesn't make a difference. Anybody that's skinny as a Guy Franklin, anybody that's short or pudgy like a potato is a Gabriel Franklin. And I don't understand this community because I'm not a part of it. I'm against what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So this is an ongoing thing. And I tell you, the public, and you, the church, to understand that this sort of thing shouldn't be going on in America, that Christians are targeted and are being forced into subordination. We have to respond every single day. Sometimes prayer is just not enough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes prayer is just not enough. Quoting Bible verses is not enough. Sometimes I wish I had a revolver and I knew exactly where John MacArthur and Gabriel Franklin and Guy Franklin were, so I could, you know, discipline them myself. I wish I had the means to a weapon so that I could discipline them myself, not just to own the weapon, because I used to own a weapon in Seattle, but, you know, sometimes you want to take you want to take action into your own hands. You want to take judgment into your own hands, because the police department of Portland won't do anything. They're siding with John MacArthur. They're the Klan. So, you know, how are you going to report to the Klan what the Klan is doing, right? So whether they're wearing a three-piece suit or they're, you know, they've got slaves like Gabriel Franklin and slaves like Guy Franklin doing their dirty work, or slaves that are other African slaves that are subjecting themselves to the Franklins, because the Franklins are the ones who carried the seed of the Europeans, right? It was their family who carried your seed 4 times. And so as a result of giving you 4, you know, half I was going to say half breed, but half black and half white children, then that's what they have on me. You know, if you want to know what the Franklins have, is that the Swiss gave her daughters children. And so now that puts her on your side, right? As a subordinate, as a subjugate. Whereas that's what I was trying to do, thinking that the relationship had cleared up, but it never was cleared up. It has been muddled, right? The whole thing has just been completely... So, you know, not to tattletale, but to keep you up to date with what's going on. It's sort of like the news media. You know, you keep up with what's going on in people's lives and what's going on in world relations with international countries, and you don't expect some of the things to be done that are done. You know, that's why sometimes when you look at me, you know, I just wake up and my hair looks like crap, because I just woke up, and you know, you want to see, if I had left the abrasion on for any longer amount of time without saying something, you wouldn't have even seen it, you know. And let me see something. I might have. if you could. I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could see it. I wanted you to see it in the light. You know. Can you see this? I don't know. It's about 2 inches long. It's about 2 inches long. When you use a ruler, see, here's when you have a ruler there. Here's 1 inch, and then here's 1 inch, and then there's 2 inches, right? So when you measure it, actually it's about 3 inches long. See, it's a 3-inch long. It's about 3 inches long. This is what she did this morning, and this is what she used. Okay, so she comes in and she uses the needle, to do this. Okay, and this is, you know, and if she's not leaving these abrasions, then, you know, she's sticking it in my feet, or she's sticking it in my thigh, right? She's sticking it in my thigh here, right? So it's either she's sticking it in my thigh here, or she's leaving an abrasion. Okay, I'm not sure if the American government is with that sort of that sort of judgment. You know, it's hard for me as a preacher, you know, to be preaching you about Jesus, right? Jesus can, remember this right here? Jesus can fix your problems, and Jesus can hear your prayers and comfort your pain and heal your disease and forgive your sins and bless your efforts and establish your leadership, lead us and just a whole list of, you know, what Jesus can do, and then this is how I'm living. You understand what I'm saying? It's hard for me to do the ministry with joy in my heart toward Christians when this is what unbelievers in the house are doing. You know, they're claiming to be Christians, and then this is what they're doing to us. And you know, and it's like I have a rod constantly, every single day. This is the rod that Guy Franklin and his mother, this is since the day I have known these Haitian people, and then John MacArthur has joined in with them, and the government has joined in with them, the gay community has done. I mean, every single day, this is what the Franklins and MacArthurs have been doing in this country. You understand? Why? Because that's my position. Because that's my position. This is their position against me, because that's my position. Right? Can you see it? Can you see what I have written there? Can you see what I have written there? Let me see if you can. Let me move it closer to you. You see the Jesus can poster? That's my position, right? Right. This is my position, and this is theirs. Right? That's my position right there, but this is theirs. So as a result of it, you know, this is what I'm enduring, right? So you see, yesterday I didn't go out there to preach the gospel. Right? I mean, you already know the gospel. The church, you know, you already know the gospel that I preach. You know the gospel that I teach, and as a result of it, that's what I'm getting at home. You understand? This is what I'm getting at home, right here. Right. I have a rod, and I have a needle, right? I have a ruler. John MacArthur's a ruler in this nation, so I have him constantly doing this, and I have a Haitian woman who's constantly sticking this and now causing me abrasion. So this is the summary of what they're doing, and now the stores, right? Am I not to take offense? Am I to just assume that this is just a mistake? So now who do I call about the abrasion? It's just an abrasion. It's not a broken arm. You know? I don't even feel it. But I do feel all the time that they're sticking needles in my flesh. You know, nobody wants this sort of thing in their bodies, right? But this is what they're doing. And you know, she's over here crying that I am responsible for the death of her son Gene, when it was her and Guy Franklin who killed him, right? And you're probably wondering, you know, what does this matter to us? You know, why should we care about all of this stuff that they're doing? Because we live in a country, and we are ruled by a constitution, right? The Constitution is supposed to protect us from maltreatment. Remember, in 1974, a man committed suicide after he was consistently, you know, beaten by the rod of John MacArthur and his staff. MacArthur's doing it again, right? MacArthur's doing it again. And I'm saying somebody from this government or someone has to step up to make this correction, right? Somebody has to correct this situation. I can't do it. I'm the one that's taking the hit. You, the American people, have to make this correction. It's almost like, you know, the 900 people who were killed in Ghana, was it South America or Africa, by Jim Jones. This man is a Jim Jones. Why is it that you European tolerate each other this way? Why is it that you allow your own people to behave this way, to do these things to each other, right? Why is it that you allow this sort of thing to take place on your continent? Why do you allow your grandfathers, like MacArthur's a grandfather, why do you allow him to do this sort of thing, right? Gabrielle Franklin is a grandmother. Why do you allow her to do this sort of thing? It doesn't make sense to me why you allow them to trespass and to commit these crimes. Why do you permit it? Why do you allow your police department to shoot and kill innocent black men? And you may be saying, well, we're not sure how to put an end to it. We're not sure how to put an end to it. Well, you're the American people. Figure it out. Right? If they can do it to me, a foreigner, you're next. Your child may be next. Your friend may be next. Your next door neighbor may be next. Any family member could be next. Right? And it doesn't have to be Gabriel and John MacArthur. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be the rulership or the leadership of John MacArthur. It could be any other European American. Right? It doesn't have to be Gabriel Franklin. It could be anybody. Right? So these people have been given the freedom to do whatever they want, to violate the law and to violate our bodies and to molest us and to eat us and to use us, and they get away with it. Now, how am I supposed to judge a MacArthur if I don't know where he is? How am I supposed to judge a Gabriel Franklin if you're hiding her? Right? How am I supposed to give it back to them when they're hidden? Am I supposed to go now to somebody that looks like them and kill them, shoot them, stab them to death for the crime that an old woman is doing under the protection of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama? I mean, she was protected under the Obama, she was protected under the Bushes, she was protected under the Clintons, she was protected under the Reagans. I mean, this woman has gotten, you know, she does whatever the hell she wants, but all of this protection because of the Swiss, right? The French Swiss who married her daughter and dropped 4 seeds. And now all of a sudden she's protected because she's part of the family. What about those of us that are not a part of the family? Should we take this abuse? Because what, she married you? What does that do for me that she married you? Her daughter's married you. What does that do for me? I'm a minister. What does that do for my ministry? What does that do for the Lord's ministry? What does that do for the church that she married you? What does that do for God and his church that she married you and subjected herself to you? What does that do for salvation? What does that do for the reconciliation that God is demanding from you as an American people? Right? That you should be reconciled to him. Be reconciled to God, Paul says. Right? What does your relationship with this Haitian... Here you are, 2 unbelieving nations. The Swiss unbelieving, the European Swiss and the European English Americans, right? You're in a relationship with an unbelieving Haitian woman. Now, what does your cohabitation, your family together have to do with me, a Haitian Cuban who is in the church and who has nothing to do with your life? Right? Your union in the world, what does that have to do with me who has no part of you in the church? All I've been trying to do with you is to bring you to the knowledge of God and Christ, to bring every thought captive to the knowledge of Christ. Now, what does that have to do with, you understand what I'm saying? And I'm asking you as an American people because this entire thing just erupted in the West Coast and everywhere I've gone. In other words, whether I go north to Seattle or south to Los Angeles, this thing follows. So why is it on video? Because I'm dealing, and if on this side I'm in Portland, sandwiched between the south and the north. Now, I go back east, it's not going to be any different, right? On the East Coast, right? Because the White House knows what's going on, and George Bush and Barack Obama and Clinton, they're not going to do anything to stop her from doing what she's doing, right? They're not going to stop her from being who she is and taking the shots that she's taking against me, right? I mean, I've been dealing with this since I was 9, I turned 44 in 15 days, right? 15 or 16 days. And by her account, because her Jean-Marie is dead, that makes me a target, right? Because her Jean-Marie is dead when I have nothing to do with her or her Jean-Marie or the union that she has with you on your side, right? So then what does that, why am I responsible for her vaginal needs? I'm asking you as an American people, because you put her on television, you have her on the radio, you've got so many versions of this Haitian woman. So, I mean, in the movie theater, right? You have her among the actors. People become famous representing this Haitian woman or taking the position of this Haitian woman. They become famous singers and songwriters, famous authors, and famous pastors. I mean, they become, they go down the fame line. And not only that, but right here in Portland, Oregon, So I'm communicating to you as you're communicating to me. You came to me and you left scars on my body. Now I'm saying to you, what was the purpose of the scar? What was the crime that I committed that deserved this? What was the crime that I committed that deserved this abrasion? Now, who am I going to call? Can I call 911? I can't call 911 because it's not an emergency. Can I call the non-emergency line? Then they're going to say that I'm harassing them and that I'm bothering them with my, with my assumption. I didn't do that to my leg. I did this though, right? I did this by carrying I did this, right? By carrying the logs. But I didn't do that this morning. So when do we put an end to this? How are we going to put an end to this? Is this ever going to come to an end? Is this, is this abuse ever going to come to an end? Right? From this to this. And now to the abrasion, right? And the sexual assault every day. When is this going to come to an end? When is this sin going to come to an end? When is this sin ever going to come to an end? When is this offense and this assault ever going to come to an end? You have her on an intercom, protected by John MacArthur. Protected by John MacArthur. Right? So now you're protecting the wicked, just like you protected the Klan, the European Klan who lynched how many 8,000 Africans? And and how much have Africans suffered in this country? How much Africans have suffered in this country? And the same way you didn't put their Klan in jail or kill them like they killed the African Americans, so it is you're doing it here again. Right? And then you want to go on national television and say that you love God and you love Christ and you're Bible-believing Christians. That doesn't fly. That doesn't make sense. Right? What is the resolution to this? What is the resolution to this? That's the question that I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to leave you with a question because I don't know how to put an end to this. I don't know how to put an end to an old woman's fancies and her lusts and her hate and whatever happens to her. It's not my problem that she has all of these issues with your people. If you don't approve of her, of the children that your own race gave to her, then maybe you should take them out. I don't know what else do you and whatever her relationship is with you guys, it doesn't bear on me. I shouldn't be responsible for what decisions you made in regards to the relationship that you have with her. So you shouldn't be penalizing me and punishing me using her as a rod. You understand what I'm saying, Americans? What you're doing is wrong. From Obama's seat all the way down to here. You understand? From Obama's seat in the east all the way over here to the west, what you're doing is wrong. I mean, if anybody's going to tell you, it's going to be the church, because it's going to cost you. In other words, that passage in Romans 12:19, never take your own revenge, beloved, but leave room for the wrath of God, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. It's going to cost Gabriel and John MacArthur. Don't you care about those people? If you do, I suggest that you talk to them. I suggest that you make the correction. I suggest that you call them to repent. If you care about this John MacArthur, I suggest that you call them to repent as a community, as a grace community, as if you care anything about these people whatsoever, if you have any feelings in your heart toward this man and this woman, as a Franklin, a Hoffman, a European family, if you have, because it's going to cost them. Because the word of the Lord is clear that whatever you've done unto them, you've done unto me. You understand? And so if she's putting her hands on me and doing what she's doing, at some point the Lord is going to make this woman suffer. And the suffering is eternal. Eternal suffering means it's never ending, people. It begins, but there is no end. You know, it's like dropping a can of soda in the middle of space. It's like dropping a can of soda in the middle of space. What do you think is going to happen to that can? Is it going to float? Or is it just going to drop into oblivion? And that's what suffering is. It's never ending. Never stopping. There's a start, but there's no end. There is no point and date that says, this is why I'm giving you the video. It's because when this judgment comes, it's going to be for the eye that I almost lost, that she's working on now, the abrasion, right? The sicknesses that came out of her body, transferred over to mine, right? The new abrasion that you saw in my leg. The fact that she rejected Christ all her life, this is why judgment is coming for this woman. If you care anything about this woman, I suggest that you talk to this woman to repent. Right? If you're her grandchildren or her children, I suggest that you call her to repent. If you're her government, I suggest that you call this woman or remove her out of this situation. Right? You care so much about this John MacArthur and Grace to You and all the things that he's preaching, and you want him to be heard and you want him to be seen and you want him in your bookstores. But there's another side of this man when he's a rebel. I told you there's a dark side. And unless somebody applies the scriptures that he teaches to his own life, this man is going to spend an eternity of misery and pain in hell.